I will never erase from my memory the image of 17-year-old Tyler being escorted away in restraints while his mother wailed at the law enforcement officers. Karen Wilson positioned herself there in her impeccably ironed business jacket, her homeowners association presidential pin shining in the late-day sunlight, her complexion crimson with rage as she thrust her digit toward Officer Martinez. "You cannot proceed with this! I control this community!" "I'm acquainted with your supervisor," she howled with vocal cords that seemed capable of breaking crystal. Tyler simply grinned smugly over his shoulder toward the assembled crowd of residents, his conceited demeanor remaining constant despite having his wrists restrained behind him. "This is completely erroneous," he shouted using the identical pompous inflection he'd employed for many days. "My mother will secure my release within 60 minutes. The residents, who had endured months of fear when it came to opposing Karen, were now observing from their window coverings and entranceways, witnessing accountability finally reaching the household that had tormented Maple Grove Estates for an excessive period. However, allow me to rewind several weeks to the beginning of these events. I had recently relocated to this immaculate suburban community featuring its perfectly maintained front yards and rigid homeowners association regulations displayed at every intersection. Initially, I believed I had discovered the perfect situation with my new residence on Elm Street, until my deliveries began vanishing. The situation commenced harmlessly enough. I would place an online order and the tracking information would indicate successful delivery, yet nothing would remain on my front step when I returned from my job. I assumed these were simply shipping errors or perhaps package thieves from beyond our community. After all, this was allegedly among the most secure neighborhoods in the metropolitan area, with Karen Wilson's authoritarian HOA maintaining everything in flawless condition. Following the third occurrence, I chose to inquire with my neighbor Mrs. Chen regarding any unusual observations. She was pruning her flowering bushes when I approached, and her expression immediately became anxious when I brought up the missing deliveries. "Oh my," she murmured, scanning the area as though someone might be eavesdropping. "You ought to really investigate the Wilson youth. I've observed him strolling throughout the community quite frequently recently." She refused to elaborate further, but her glance toward the large residence at the street's terminus conveyed everything I required to understand. That night I purchased a video doorbell and remained patient. 2 days afterward, I obtained my solution. The recording was perfectly clear, displaying Tyler Wilson nonchalantly approaching my pathway in full daylight, grabbing my delivery as though he was collecting his own correspondence, and departing without any concern whatsoever. He possessed the nerve to whistle during the act. I viewed the footage multiple times, my blood pressure escalating with each replay. This wasn't some desperate youth stealing sustenance. This was the HOA president's offspring treating our community like his private retail center. I walked directly to the Wilson residence, package theft proof loaded on my device, prepared for what I assumed would be a straightforward discussion between mature individuals. Karen answered the entrance wearing her typical power outfit, and that patronizing grin she saved for individuals she deemed inferior to her position. "Well, greetings there, new resident," she stated with artificial warmth. "How may I assist you today?" When I described the stolen deliveries and displayed the footage, her demeanor transformed from fake cordiality to frigid coldness within moments. "That's quite a serious allegation you're presenting," she stated, her voice lowering to a threatening whisper. "And honestly, I consider it offensive that you'd arrive at my residence making outrageous claims regarding my child." I attempted to remain composed and logical, clarifying that I possessed clear video proof and simply desired my packages returned and the stealing to cease. Karen's reaction was to fold her arms and deliver that expression she likely rehearsed in her reflection, the one designed to make individuals retreat and express regret. "Tyler maintains excellent grades and leads his debate club," she stated with the manner of someone clarifying fundamental information to a juvenile. "He would never lower himself to minor theft. Perhaps you should examine your delivery confirmation messages more thoroughly before making allegations." Then arrived the warning disguised in HOA language. "I'd recommend you select your conflicts very cautiously in this community. As Homeowners Association president, I regard false allegations against residents extremely seriously, particularly when they target exceptional young individuals like my son." The thefts continued unabated. They intensified. During the following week, Tyler became more audacious, taking deliveries in complete daylight, and even possessing the audacity to gesture at my camera on one occasion. When I caught him in the act departing with my neighbor's package, I shouted to him from the opposite side of the road. His reaction sent chills through my spine. "Hey sir," he stated with a sneer matching his mother's arrogance. "My mom controls this entire community. I'm essentially immune here. Perhaps you should consider relocating elsewhere if you disapprove of how operations function in Maple Grove Estates." The youth actually chuckled as he departed with stolen goods, completely certain that his mother's authority would shield him from any repercussions. That moment made me understand this transcended simple package theft. This concerned a household that considered themselves exempt from legal consequences due to a trivial neighborhood position. I began contacting additional residents, and my discoveries were both startling and maddening. The Hendersons had lost 4 deliveries during the previous month. The Johnsons were missing a celebration present for their child. Even aged Mr. Peterson had his prescription medications stolen from his entrance. Every individual I spoke with had suspected Tyler but remained too frightened of Karen's revenge to voice anything. "She can create significant difficulties if you oppose her," Mrs. Chen clarified when I questioned why nobody had filed reports. Previous year she attempted to penalize the Smiths $500 because their lawn exceeded HOA specifications by half an inch. I persuaded 6 neighbors to collaborate with me in recording Tyler's actions and collecting proof. We established a group communication system and began coordinating our surveillance. Within 3 days, we captured Tyler on numerous cameras stealing packages from residences throughout the complete neighborhood. The proof was irrefutable, demonstrating a distinct pattern of theft that had continued for months. Equipped with this evidence, I requested a gathering with the HOA committee to present our situation and demand intervention. Karen's response was immediate and foreseeable. She arranged a meeting for a Tuesday morning when most employed individuals couldn't participate, then devoted the complete session to dismissing our proof as manipulated footage and coordinated persecution against her household. This clearly represents a personal campaign by residents who don't value the elevated standards I've labored to establish in this community. She announced to the 3 committee members who'd appeared, all of them her long-standing allies. When I attempted to display the video evidence, she declared it unacceptable and threatened to penalize anyone who continued what she termed slanderous conduct. The gathering was a total farce, but it provided me with a crucial understanding about confronting corrupt minor dictators. You cannot defeat them by participating within their manipulated framework. You must circumvent them completely. That night I collected all our evidence, arranged it into a thorough report, and traveled directly to the law enforcement station. Detective Sarah Martinez listened attentively as I described the circumstances, examined the video documentation, and studied the materials we'd assembled. "This represents actually quite remarkable investigative work," she commented with a subtle grin. "You've obtained multiple perspectives, timestamps, and definitive identification. We can certainly proceed with this." The investigation progressed more rapidly than I'd anticipated. Within 2 days, Detective Martinez had questioned several residents and verified the theft pattern. She also uncovered that Tyler had been marketing some of the stolen merchandise online, which elevated the accusations from simple theft to organized retail crime. When she contacted to notify me they'd be executing an arrest, I must acknowledge I experienced a rush of gratification. "We'll be apprehending him following school tomorrow," she clarified. "And considering the evidence, we're confident regarding prosecution." I happened to be laboring in my front garden when the police vehicles arrived at the Wilson residence. The image of Tyler being informed of his rights while Karen shrieked at the officers surpassed any film I'd ever observed. "This constitutes persecution," she screamed as her son was positioned in the patrol car's rear. "I'll ensure you lose your positions for this. Are you aware of my identity?" Detective Martinez maintained complete professionalism, calmly clarifying that Tyler faced charges for multiple theft counts, trafficking stolen goods, and organized retail crime. The expression on Karen's face when she realized her OA position held absolutely no significance to genuine law enforcement was invaluable. The community exploded in festivity that night. Individuals who'd been intimidated by the Wilson household for years were finally able to discuss their experiences openly. Mrs. Peterson initiated a petition to dismiss Karen from the HOA committee, and within 24 hours it collected signatures from more than 80% of the residents. The identical neighbors who'd been too scared to report package theft were now forming lines to share accounts about Karen's power abuse, unlawful penalties, and intimidation of anyone who dared challenge her authority. Tyler's court appearance occurred sooner than anticipated due to the substantial evidence and his choice to admit guilt rather than subject his family to an extended trial. The magistrate sentenced him to 6 months in juvenile confinement, 2 years supervised release, and compensation to all victims totaling more than $3,000. Karen's complexion became pale as she observed her supposedly untouchable son escorted away to commence his sentence. The magistrate also mandated community service specifically concentrated on property crime prevention, ensuring Tyler would spend months educating other adolescents about why theft isn't worth the repercussions. Karen attempted one final desperate appeal regarding her son's promising future, but the magistrate interrupted her with a firm reminder that behaviors have repercussions regardless of family relationships or neighborhood positions.